He's my kitty. And sometimes we call him Booger. He's my kitty. He sleeps all day and we wait on him. He says, give me my food, bring it up to my chin. He's my kitty. He's my kitty.
Put your hands up in the air, put your hands up in the air. Put your hands up in the air, put your hands up in the air.
I love you.
So glad you like it. Thank you so much. Why do they make banjos so heavy? This one is a old Stuart McDonald open back. It doesn't even have a resonator on it, and I bet it weighs 20 pounds. Anyway, thank you for that. Oh, and I want to say be sure and tip the venue today because this is such an awesome sim. It's like by far the best, most fun bunch of people ever. I have one more song to go. This one is called Froggy Went A-Courtin'. I've changed it just a little bit because the words are, he went a-courtin' with a sword and pistol by his side, but that didn't make sense to me because if I were being courted, I would want flowers and candy, so I changed that to flowers and candy. This one has been recorded by Tex Ritter, Burl Ives, Elvis Presley, Bob Dylan, and Bruce Springsteen. And I changed it just a little bit. This is Froggy Went A-Courtin'. Froggy went a-courtin' and he did right, Froggy went a-courtin' and he did right, Oops, let me turn on my animation. Froggy went a-courtin' and he did ride with flowers and candy by his side, He rode right up to Miss Mousie's door, Rode right up to Miss Mousie's door, Rode right up to Miss Mousie's door. He'd been there many times before, He said, Miss Mouse, are you within, He said, Miss Mouse, are you within, He said, Miss Mouse, are you within? Well, yes, I am. I sit and spin, He took Miss Mousie on his knee, He took Miss Mousie on his knee, He took Miss Mousie on his knee. He said, Miss Mouse, will you marry me, Without my Uncle Rat's consent, Without my Uncle Rat's consent, Without my Uncle Rat's consent, I would not marry the president, Uncle Rat laughed and he shook his big fat sides, Uncle Rat laughed and he shook his big fat sides, Uncle Rat laughed and he shook his sides to think his niece would be a bride, Uncle Rat rode into town, uncle rode into town to buy his niece a wedding gown. Where shall the wedding supper be? Where shall the wedding supper be? Where shall the wedding supper be? Way down yonder in the hollow tree. What shall the wedding supper be? What shall the wedding supper be? What shall the wedding supper be? Hot cornbread and black-eyed peas. First to come in was a flying moth. First to come in was a flying moth. First to come in was a flying moth. She laid out the tablecloth. Next to come in was a Junie bug. Next to come in was a Junie bug. Next to come in was a Junie bug. She brought in the water jug. Next to come in was a bumblebee bee. Next to come in was a bumblebee bee. Next to come in was a bumblebee bee. He sat Miss Keto on his knee. They all sat down and started to chat. They all sat down and started to chat. They all sat down and started to chat when in came the kittens and the cat. Next to come in was Mrs. Cow. Next to come in was Mrs. Cow. Next to come in was Mrs. Cow. She ate so much, oops, tried to dance, but she didn't know how. Next to come in was a little black tick. Next to come in was a little black tick. Next to come in was a little black tick. She ate so much it made her sick. The owl did hoot and the birds they sang. The owl did hoot and the birds they sang. The owl did hoot and the birds they sang. Through the woods the music rang. They all went sailing across the lake. They all went sailing across the lake. They all went sailing across the lake. Got swallowed up by a water snake. Little piece of cornbread laying on the shelf. Little piece of cornbread laying on the shelf. Little piece of cornbread laying on the shelf. If you want any more, you can bake it yourself. Thank you so much, everybody. It has been awesome. Woo! Thank you, everyone. All my wonderful tiny toys.